Good morning and welcome to Kids Rock for March the 7th. I'm so glad you've joined me here in our worship space down in the hall. Let's light the Christ candle as we begin. All right, and now I'll say the Lord be with you, and you respond, and also with you. Are you ready? The Lord be with you. And also with you. Thank you. Let us pray. Dear God, we thank you for this time that we can be here this morning. We thank you for your presence that is with us every week as we are reminded through our candle that you are here. Receive our praise this morning and give us hearts to hear what you want to tell us. In Jesus' name, amen. Today is our third Sunday in Lent. Now, every week we're talking about a symbol that has something to do with the story of Jesus' suffering and death. And our symbol today, as you can see, we've had the road, the money bag, and today we have a cup and some bread. That's what the symbol is there on our Lent road. Now, these symbols remind us of Jesus' body that was broken and his blood that was shed when he died on that cross. Listen to the scripture from Matthew 26, where it says this, Matthew 26, verse 26. As they were eating, Jesus took some bread and blessed it. Then he broke it in pieces and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take this and eat it, for this is my body." And he took a cup of wine and gave thanks to God for it. He gave it to them and said, "Each of you drink from it, for this is my blood, which confirms the covenant between God and his people. It is poured out as a sacrifice to forgive the sins of many." As you share meals with your family this week, think about how Jesus might have been feeling as he shared that last meal with his disciples. And think about his disciples who probably did not understand one little bit about what Jesus meant. They would soon, but at this meal, they still didn't really get it. But we can be thankful for what Jesus has done for us, and we know that his sacrifice has made it possible for us to have life. Today we're going to be thinking about cleaning areas in our lives so that the love and light of Jesus can shine through. So let's begin with our song, "This Little Light of Mine."
You guys stomp your feet like that? And let's clap together. That's it. Keep it going. Let's sing "This Little Light of Mine."
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right, keep clapping now. Sounds good? Everywhere I go.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine.
Yes,
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Oh, that sounds so good. That's called clapping on the backbeat. All right, sing this real quiet with me now.
Even when I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine. Even when I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine.
Yes, even when
I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
mops, brooms, dust cloths. What do we use these kinds of things for? Yeah, we use things like that if we're going to clean house, don't we? Now, do you ever help your parents cleaning your house? Do you have a favorite task you like to do or to help with? Or is there a task that's your least favorite one to do? Now, my least favorite one to do in our house is cleaning toilets. I hate cleaning toilets, but you know what? When I was a kid, there was an even worse job that we had to do. Most of you remember that I grew up in a bakery in a little town out on the prairies. And every summer, when we were off on summer holidays, we all helped out extra in the bakery. And one of the things we did every summer is we cleaned that bakery from top to bottom. And I mean that. We cleaned walls and we went in corners and behind. Everything got cleaned during the summer because we were all homeschooled and there were a whole bunch of us kids. And so we would clean. And the worst job to do, we had this proofer, and it was like this big room with a roof that didn't come all the ways to the roof. And it was like a steam room, and all the bread and the buns and the cakes and stuff would go in there to have a steam rise before we baked them. And somebody had to climb up on top of that room and wash down the roof of that room. Guess who got stuck with that job? Do you know how hot it is in a bakery in the middle of July? Worst job ever. That's my worst cleaning job ever. But back to you guys in cleaning house. Nothing is as bad as that, trust me. I want you guys to do something right now. I want you to play a little game with your family. I want you all to think about a job around your house, a cleaning job around your house. And one at a time, I want you to take turns not talking, but just doing the action and showing what that job is, and everybody else try and guess what you're cleaning. All right? So you have to use your imaginations in this game, and I want you to pause me, and I want you to do a cleaning game. So pause me and clean something. Well, all this talk about cleaning reminds me of a story from John chapter 2 where Jesus did some house cleaning. Here's what happened. Listen to these verses from John chapter 2. It was nearly time for the Jewish Passover celebration, so Jesus went to Jerusalem. In the temple area, he saw merchants selling cattle, sheep, and doves for sacrifices. He also saw dealers at tables exchanging foreign money. Well, Jesus couldn't believe what he saw. Right there in the temple, where people would come to worship God, and that's what was supposed to be happening in that part of the temple, was a quiet place for people to worship God. He saw people that were selling animals to be used as sacrifices in the temple. And tables were set up where men were changing money so that people could pay their temple taxes. Jesus did not like this. It looked a lot more like a market than a place of worship. So listen to what Jesus did. John 2, verse 15. Jesus made a whip from some ropes and chased them all out of the temple. He drove out the sheep and the cattle, scattered the money changers' coins over the floor, and turned over their tables. Then going over to the people who sold doves, he told them, "Get those things out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a marketplace." Wow, Jesus did some really serious house cleaning that day. He chased out the people who were selling animals and those who were exchanging money. He said to them, "Stop turning my Father's house into a marketplace." The temple had become not a place of light where God was worshipped, but a place of business. As we think about Jesus cleansing the temple, we're reminded that there is some other serious cleaning that needs to be done, and not just cleaning in our houses. In 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16, Paul tells us that we are the temple of God, and God's Spirit lives in us. This season of Lent is a good time for us to look inside ourselves and see if there is anything in us that needs to be cleaned up in order for the light and love of Jesus to shine through. Are we making choices to please Jesus? Are we choosing to do the right things that honor God? Are there things we need to ask forgiveness for? Those are some things to think about this week. Let's pray. Dear God, I pray that you would help us to remember that we are your temple and that your Spirit lives in us. Help us to keep our lives clean and useful for service to you. In Jesus' name, amen. I have a fun little kind of craft idea for you to do. Grab a piece of paper and draw a simple outline of a church on it. Or get your parents or your grandparents to print off this simple black outline that's on the website today of a church, along with the other lesson activity sheets. And then on that church shape, write words or draw pictures, as I have done, of the things that we should be doing at church. For example, here's some things I wrote on mine. Listen for God's voice, pray, encourage others with words and hugs. Listen to the teachers, read the Bible, sing praises, and I'm sure you can think of some other things that are good things to do at church. Okay, now I realize right now you all can't actually come here to the church. But think about those things that you have done here and will be able to do again someday, hopefully in the next few months. And you know, by the way, all of these things that we can do regularly here at church, we can also do in our homes. We don't have to wait to come to church to pray or to listen to Bible stories. We can do that at home. God is everywhere, and we can sing praises to God. In fact, at home you can sing praises because you don't have to wear a mask at home. And you can pray, and you can do these things as ways of worshiping God, whether you're here at church or whether you're in your home. Let these things be a reminder to you this week to remember to follow Jesus and to make choices that show that you belong to him and that you want his love and his light to shine forth out of your life, no matter whether you're at home or at school or at the playground or like me working here at the church. Let's talk about our God settings for this week. Today we've been talking about how we need to clean up our lives so that the love and light of Jesus can shine through. I invite you to think about where you have seen or experienced God at work in your life in a way that showed his love, his light, through you or through someone else to you. Was someone else a God sighting to you because you could see God's love shining through them? That's what I wrote about this week. I had a friend who sent me a really encouraging, beautiful text with a beautiful picture first thing Monday morning this week. Now, this friend is going through a lot of really tough stuff herself in her life, and yet she sent me this really lovely text that was a great encouragement to my heart. And so I said, God's love and light shone through to me through a very sweet text from a friend. And I drew my phone, the lid of that picture with some flowers and sunshine, and then the pretend text underneath. And God really blessed my heart. That was one of my God sightings this week, was this light, lovely note that came from a friend. Well, there are two pictures as usual. On the website, we have Jesus clearing the temple there for you to print off, and then of course a word search for some of you that like always to do a word search, and those are there along with that church outline that you could get printed off this week. Thank you for joining me once again. I'm glad that we could meet together in this way. Remember this week to be thankful that God is always with you and he loves you very much. Keep your eyes open for signs of his love and his care for you as you go through your week. And look for ways that you can show the love and light of Jesus to others around you. And now, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his face towards you and grant you peace and joy this week. Amen. Thank you for being here. Have a great week. See you next time. Bye.